Hello everyone, Strange Sims here, and welcome to yet another video. Happy Halloween! Where I'm from, we don't have Halloween, but I always liked it and it's on brand, so here's a video. I am posting this outside of my normal timeline of videos. It's Halloween and the theme of the holiday matches what this channel is all about. So I decided to give you something. And since my previous build video went really well, here's another one. This time I am building a haunted house, or something close to it. So to start off this video, I tried to figure out what is it that I wanted shape-wise for the house. Since a lot of them didn't look right, it took me a while to find a shape that I was happy with. You of course will not be seeing all the tries, but this is kind of a rather typical old style house. It has the big portion and the smaller part, as well as the sort of a tower, which is very famous in horror style movies. As you can see, I'm kind of messing around with the roof. This is another part that I've kind of cut out a lot because I was having real big issues trying to work out what's the perfect shape for what I wanted. It's a lot more complicated because there isn't as much option as there is in the Sims 4. So I kind of had to work with the restrictions I had while still trying to make it look decent. And here we are looking for the windows. This is another one I did not think was gonna be such a big issue, but I could not find the right windows I wanted, so I just kind of had to figure out what it is that would work. Because while I did have those windows which kind of were the thing, I didn't want them because of what I already set up. Another problem that I encountered was most windows were either 1 tile or 2 tile, and certain parts needed 3 tiles, and those were limited. And here we are in the back portion. The back portion of course had different windows from the front, mostly because I needed the correct window to work there. So now I had to make sure that that little window fits with all other windows I have. I tried to do these, but as I said, they were too tiny for what I wanted. And that last little window that you saw on the upper floor was a window that essentially is more of a decoration than really a window. I kind of liked how it looked, so I kind of left it like a different add-on to the house. Here we are with the wallpaper. This was another one I kind of had an idea, but the game didn't give me that option, and I was already kind of recording and didn't feel like searching the internet for, additional wallpaper and whatnot, so I just kind of went with the typical stone. And of course I decided to bring out the tower to the forefront, just to give it a bit of a unique look. And now I'm working to put in a fireplace, and one of the problems was that a lot of them had brick, and I didn't want a brick, so this was the only one that fit that, because I didn't want it to be flat and I didn't want it to be brick. I wanted it to be stone, so this was kind of the only one that worked. When it comes to the floor tiles on the outside, it was kind of difficult to find because while I liked this little stones, I did not like how it kind of seemed to blend in with the wallpaper, so I decided to go with these different tiles. As for the fences, I was not quite sure what I wanted. I didn't want it to be the traditional that I normally use, you know, the ones that are in base game and other ones, so I decided to use this one. I kind of liked how it looked, so decided to go with it. Now, I wanted to put in the gate, but with how small the fence truly is, I realized I needed to figure out which gate fits, and I liked how this one looked. And now we go indoors. So the first thing, of course, was to figure out where I'm gonna put the stairs, because I wanted to use these stairs. They looked amazing, but I could not get them to work in this style of house. So maybe next Halloween I'll use them, because they're literally my favorite, but I've never had a chance to use them. I decided to go with these ones due to how they looked and how dark they were. I also decided to do them the opposite, thus creating this little entryway. Figuring out the rooms was also kind of a challenge because they had to be big enough for beds, but not too big that there would not be enough of them. So I just kind of had to figure out things. And I figured out a plan that actually works for me. So there is enough rooms, enough places for bathrooms. Well, I probably could have done a little more, but I was happy with this. And here we are furnishing the hallway, the small part of the hallway. I decided to light up the entire build so I can see how much and how everything's gonna look. That is one of the bathrooms. I will make a downstairs bathroom as well, just haven't figured it out yet. While I like those, I decided to go with a little bit different because while I wanted to do a haunted house, I didn't want to completely go in Gothic style and, you know, make it more castle-y, even though I could have. But I'm kind of happy with the final product, as you'll see how it looks. Figuring out the floor was interesting because I wanted it to be dark. But I also didn't want to completely make it the same. So you have that little area that looks like it's carpeted in both the upper and the lower floor. And now I'm figuring out the wallpaper. Decided to go with this more grayish one. There is a darker one actually. I use it in a bedroom later on. Of course, the grandfather clock has to go somewhere. And now I'm putting in the nook for the other part of the hallway. I decided to just kind of put some sofas and some tables. As for the upper part, I decided to essentially make it into the reading nook. This is just gonna be the reading and kind of creative without any sort of noise, so it's kind of like a silent room. I love these masks, so I decided to include them. And now we're on to the living room. As you can see, I kind of made it more traditional living room with the TV, and I think I forgot stereo, but I have a bit of a problem with that in the live mode with it, so a lot of times I kind of don't put that in. And this is, of course, the small bathroom downstairs that I mentioned. And of course I decided to use these bookcase that technically can be opened, and so there is essentially a gateway to the kitchen and dining. It's just not the traditional one. Yes, it's a lot of red, I know. I'm aware. So this is the bathroom. I kind of had a lot of problems trying to figure out what sort of coloring I want to do. But I kind of figured out that black tiles and the gray tiles with a bit of a red seemed to be fitting this very well. I am essentially doing bathrooms at the same time, so it's very similar to one another. I do kind of feel like most bathrooms, when you have multiple in a house, they do tend to follow a pattern. And we're on to the kitchen and dining. Well, technically I should have, if I wanted to follow the old style of planning, I should have separated two, but I was worried how much space I would have so that the seam don't get stuck. course, the gargoyles. I decided to add them even though they're not necessarily fitting. I decided to kind of add a bit more of the old style vibe to it. And now we're on to the bedrooms. So when I was making this, I originally planned on making one of these rooms kind of the master bedroom, but it ended up to be a completely different room from the one I thought I would do. So right now I'll be doing two rooms, the quote-unquote white room and the red room. So here's the white room. Essentially, I'm using the traditional Gothic inspired furniture in here. And this is the red room. You can see by the bed. I kind of normally theme them by colors. I don't know why I do that. So I really like this mirror. It does have a feel of there is something off with that mirror, so I decided to place it. Yes, this is the darker color of the hallway paper, but I kind of liked it, so I decided to keep it. Now we're on to the green room. Essentially, this one turned out to be the main bedroom. I did not think it was gonna be the one, but it kind of worked out that way as I was furnishing it and just kind of worked and decided to keep it that way. So yes, there's that mirror again, just now on the wall. Again, there's just something about it that just looks a little bit off and I love it. Of course, the Bella portrait and the cat, of course. And now we go on to the kids' room. Because of the thematic structure of the house, I decided to use one of the packs, specifically the alien one, since everything else kind of fits into the traditional horror aesthetic. I decided to just kind of bring in the science fiction a bit. And now we go on to the nursery. Originally I was kind of planning to make this another kid's bedroom, but then this crib showed up and I was like, okay, let's run with that. And now we have a nursery. This is, of course, the kids' playroom with, of course, me realizing I have never put in one laptop, well, a computer, so I was like, oops. Okay, let's do this. And now we go on to the yard. I decided to add a pond, though I've actually very rarely made ones. I'm actually not really good at it, but I think it kind of turned out well. Because it's supposed to be a really good house. Well, it's expensive. I was like, okay, we need a pool. Now we are doing the porch. Of course, I decided to give them the hot tub. Again, it's a very expensive house. I'm like, okay, they have to have it. Of course, adding fences, little tiny fences, so that we can put in lights. It really looks good. I'm pleased with it. the pool area is gonna have only the lights inside of the pool. I decided not to light it up anything else. The telescope, and I decided to give them a swing in this area. I decided to give them a fountain here. And the house is finished. I am pleased with the final results. I had to figure out a lot of detailing before I even started to record, so this was a very long project to do, but I wanted to do another build, and with the holiday coming up, I was like, let's do it. If you want to see more, subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Also, if you have any sort of idea why this house would be haunted or some sort of history, you can also share that in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Happy Halloween!